95% of people overcomplicate productivity. They're trying to do a calculus problem, but all they really need to solve it is an algebra equation or formula. Today, I'm going to walk you through my simple productivity system. This is the same exact system I've used to build and scale businesses ranging from 6, 7, and even 8 figures with over hundreds of employees spanning around the world. And guess what? You're going to want to stick around to the end because I'm going to have free templates, free software, and the exact step-by-step system that I use to stay productive in a very, very simplified manner. By the end of this video, you're going to have a completely free productivity system that you can implement today. If this is your first time here, I want to give a warm welcome. My name is Mike Swigunski. I'm the best-selling author, entrepreneur, TEDx speaker who's been working and traveling around the world. So if you're interested in learning about how to make money online and travel around the world while you're doing it, make sure to go ahead and hit subscribe. All right, so let's dive back in. Something that crosses my mind almost every single day is we have this same 24 hours in a day as the world's busiest people like Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, and Tim Cook. These people are incredibly busy, but they're also masters at making every single minute count. Now, you might not need to dial in your schedules to the extremes that they do, but there are definitely a few important lessons that can be learned from their efficiency. And a few of those quick lessons are they're very conscious with how they spend their time. And throughout this video, I'm going to show you everything I've learned from reading a ton of productivity books, following some of the biggest gurus, and learning from some of the world's wealthiest people, how they stay productive. I've gone ahead and taken the best pieces from all of these experts and boiled it down to a much simpler system that almost anybody can use. Again, I think people overcomplicate this stuff, and I've gone about the KISS, keep it simple, SWIG. That's the system that I love. I love to keep things simple because it's going to be easier to implement. It's going to be easier to get results. It's more importantly, it's going to be easier to do this over the next 5 to 10 years. So you might be thinking, what is productivity and why is it so important? The way I define productivity is essentially how much time you put in and how much money you get back in return. It's as simple as that. And the first way you want to go ahead and figure out is, what is your productivity to income ratio? Here's the quickest way to calculate it. Just take your annual income, divide it by the number of hours you work each week, multiply that times 52. So for example, if you're making $250,000 per year, you would take $250,000 and then divide it by 40 hours per week times 52 weeks, which is going to give you around $120 per hour. Now, imagine if you could double your productivity. You'd essentially boost that rate from $120 per hour to $240 per hour. That's the power of productivity. It gives you the freedom to either enjoy more of your free time or increase your earnings. Now, a lot of people might think that that sounds crazy, but imagine this scenario. What if you could get 20 hours per week for an assistant where you're doing something for $120 per hour, but you could outsource that for $20 to $30 per hour to somebody else. They're going to be solely dedicated to that task, and they're going to be able to actually probably get better results on the long term. That's going to be the power of productivity, where you can go ahead and focus that time more efficiently and focus on the things that get you more money in the long run. So you might be wondering what it takes to actually ramp up productivity. How do you double your income just by being more productive? Well, it's all really going to boil down to having a simple system and using this system over a longer period of time. So before we dive into the first system, let me go ahead and ask you something. I find it absolutely crazy that every year people spend weeks and weeks auditing their money, their income, their expenses, and there's all this software built around this. But the average person in the world doesn't audit the most precious thing of their life, which is time. Why don't people audit their time? Well, this is something that I highly recommend every person doing. Maybe you do it every month, maybe you do it every quarter, or maybe you do it once a year. Time audits are going to be crucial because if you don't understand where your time is being spent, you're really not going to know how to be productive and how to actually utilize it. So a simple time audit will show you exactly what to automate, what to outsource, or in most cases, stop doing it altogether. I built a template where you can actually use this for free, and I'll send it to everyone who leaves a comment below. Just mention you want the time audit template. Now, the time audit template is broken down into a bunch of different categories, and essentially the whole premise is to figure out the core things you're doing in your business and your personal time, the importance. Do you actually enjoy doing this? Are you the only person in your business that can do this? Really think about that, because there's likely people who can replace you or do it better. Do you have some competitive advantage? How much time per week or per task are you doing this? And then who could replace this? Now, instead of just who, what can replace this, right? Can it be a person or can it be a piece of software? Then you need to figure out is what is the actual opportunity cost and the actual amount to replace or outsource this task. Understanding this, you'll be able to easily see how much money it would cost to replicate or outsource or automate your current task. I want you to practice saying no. Say it right now, say it out loud, and try to say it at least 10 to 15 times per week. Look at your time audit, figure out all the things in your personal and business life that you can say no to. This is going to be one of the most important productivity hacks out there, because there's likely things in your life that are drawing your resources but aren't actually bringing internal or external value to you. One example of this is those countless meetings that maybe you got dragged into a couple quarters ago, but you don't really add any value and you don't extract any value from it. It just is one of those things that you didn't know how to say no to it because you were scared to bring it up with your boss. Think of situations like that, or think of other situations where you're driving out of your way to do stuff where you could outsource or automate it to somebody else. Maybe you spend 3 hours a day commuting to go pick up your kids, but there's a taxi service that could do this for them, right? Think of situations and scenarios like this where you need to say no to stuff and yes to something else. One of the oldest expressions out there is there's no such thing as free lunch. This essentially means that if you go to a free lunch, you're likely not utilizing your time in the best way possible, meaning that 1 or 2 hours that you're spending at a free lunch is costing you something. In this previous example, that 1 hour is costing you $120 per hour of your productivity time, meaning you're not actually bringing in money for that free lunch. So that $20 free lunch for $120 per hour actually cost you $100, right? This is why this productivity system is so impactful, because it really changes the perspective on how to stay productive. A lot of people actually don't know this, but the best productivity tool out there is absolutely free. You probably use it for your business, or maybe you have it installed, but you're just not utilizing it in your day-to-day life to stay completely productive. This is called Google Calendar. Google Calendar is one of the best free productivity apps out there, and I use it every single day to stay more productive and more efficient. You need to live and die in your calendar. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't exist and it's not important. This includes everything: gym time, lunch breaks, travel, meetings, you name it. If it's not important, it doesn't make it into my calendar. Staying organized in your calendar is going to be an absolute game changer, because you're going to have everything figured out. You're going to be able to allocate your time in the most impactful way possible. When I see people who say, oh, I don't have time for this, I don't have the time to do this, or I'm just so busy, I couldn't get this done, I say, hey, let me look at your calendar. Let's see what's going on. So when did you actually schedule to do this task? How did you actually block out time? What were the things that you were breaking down to actually go ahead and get this big task done in smaller chunks? Because to get the huge task done, you got to do 5 things on week 1, week 2, week 3 to actually go ahead and lead towards that bigger task. So that's something that you need to understand, is people most likely aren't organizing their calendar in the right way to actually get the bigger task done. One of the best productivity tools out there only costs about a penny, and you likely already have them laying around your house collecting dust. What I'm talking about is the simple note card. And how you utilize this is the important part. The way I utilize the note card system is to do the following. Essentially what I do is I have bigger quarterly and yearly goals. Those are broken down into monthly tasks. And then what I do is I write my 3 daily goals that are all leading towards these bigger goals. I write these goals on a note card, I put it in front of my laptop, then I schedule the exact amount of time it's going to take me to do this in my calendar. And then I start working on that block during that time. The reason this works so well is that every time you look down, you're confused on what to do, you're getting distracted, you're going to see those 3 important things that you need to accomplish today. And you're going to have that visual cue to make sure that you go ahead and get it done. You're also going to have the reminders and time set in your calendar. So it's going to do a better job of keeping you focused and allocating that time to make sure that this task gets done. I limit it to 3 things per day because anything more than that, you're likely not going to get it done. You're going to be doing too many different things. So start with 3 different things, write it on a note card, put it in front of your laptop or computer, and then schedule it in your calendar. Just to recap things here, the 4 greatest productivity hacks is 1, doing a time audit, 2, learning to say no to things, 3, utilizing one of the best software out there, Google Calendar, to stay optimized, and then 4, using the note card system to stay organized and optimized. So hey guys, now that you understand this simple productivity system, I hope you're able to be a little bit more productive. All the tools and resources I mentioned, I'm going to leave a link for them below. If you want the time audit, make sure to leave a comment below. And if you learned anything in this video, make sure to go ahead and subscribe for the new videos I'm putting out every single week.